On July 23, 1942, conservation legend Aldo Leopold walked the recently retired fields and woodlots on the preserve surrounding the newly opened Historic Indian Agency House Museum. He took note of numerous native plant species skirting the edges of the property's recently abandoned farm fields. These vestiges of native plants were surviving descendants of the historic prairie ecosystem in which the agency house had been built over a century earlier, but which by now had all but vanished. Leopold recommended that this deeply historic landscape be encouraged to return and spread back across the property's fields and pastures. By the turn of the 21st century, these surviving species had indeed crept out under their own steam, naturally reclaiming over a dozen acres of historic prairie. Last year, our historic site began to actively steward this significant prairie remnant by removing part of a multi-acre patch of invasive black locust trees, which was steadily taking over the open prairie land. Black locust is a tree which grows clonally via underground rhizomes, meaning that it spreads fairly rapidly and outcompetes most native vegetation. While not present in the earliest photo documentation, the patches exploded in size between the 1990s and the present. The locust on the property stand in 4 primary patches, pushing in on the prairie from 3 different directions. Over the course of the spring of 2022, volunteers helped clear roughly 2 to 3 acres of black locust and plant the area in native prairie species. This year, the scope of the effort dramatically increased unexpectedly. A logging company out of Muscoda, Wisconsin, offered to remove all our mature black locust trees for free if they could utilize the harvested lumber. Thus began a dramatic transformation of the landscape here. Nearly 8 acres of invasive black locust trees were removed from the preserve during the operation in the early months of 2023. Acreage which only 30 to 40 years ago had been open grassland. As the thick stands were peeled away, veiled vistas opened, and some surviving native tree species were revealed. Now the process of treating stumps, and clearing, piling, and eventually burning the limbs which were left behind is in full swing. The work is slow, but progress is thankfully now evident. Replanting prairie species is underway as the spring unfolds. Plans are being ironed out for tending to these cleared areas as the summer progresses. Volunteers have already contributed more than 400 hours of labor this spring. Please enjoy a snapshot of the work which has taken place thus far as we continue Phase 2 of this important step in land stewardship and preservation. thank you to all the dedicated volunteers who have lent a hand to making this possible. What today looks like a disaster zone is an investment in the health and survival of this property's rare prairie ecosystem. We are excited to see the pieces of this historic landscape redeveloped as the land stewardship journey continues.